I guarantee you, if you refrain from such a marriage, all because you want to please God, or because you want to marry a man who truly loves God, I want to tell you that the God I serve will not disappoint you. He's going to reward you with a very godly man. He's going to reward you with a man that loves him. He's going to reward you a man after his heart. He's going to reward you with a man that will take care of you. He's going to reward you with a man that will not disturb you in that marriage. He's going to reward you with a man you will enjoy. And when you do that, you will have a peaceful, a harmonious, a stronger, a beautiful marriage. And that is what. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Transforming Marriages with Uju Onwuzulike. I am absolutely thrilled to be your host. Thank you for tuning in, and I want to let you know at the end of this video, you will be able to learn one or two things that will help you to build a stronger and happier marriage, all to the glory of God. So what will I be doing in this video? What I'll be doing in this video is to provide an answer to a very deep-seated question, which I believe will be highly beneficial to those that are yet to be married, especially to the ladies amongst us. So what is that question? Would you advise me to marry him? Advise you to marry who? Would you advise me to marry a man who loves me dearly, who loves me so much, but the only snag is that this man doesn't have love for God. This man doesn't have any regard for God. Would you advise me to marry this man? That is very interesting. So before we get the show on the road, I want you to grab your pen and paper. And let's put this thing down about marriage. The first thing I want you to know about marriage is that marriage is not a man-made thing. Marriage is not a worldly thing. And marriage is not also a cultural thing. And marriage is not a governmental thing. Marriage was something shaped, formed, orchestrated by God. So marriage is spiritual. So any marriage relationship that you want to get yourself into that has thrown God away is not worth it. It's not something I will encourage you to get into. Marriage is also more than a relationship. Marriage is a covenant you have with God. So any marriage you want to get yourself into, and that marriage is one that will not honor God from day one. That marriage is not worth it. So getting married to a man who doesn't love God is what I want to call a time bomb waiting to explode. Will it explode? Yes, it's going to explode. You might not know the time it's going to explode, but it will surely explode. So my advice to anyone that wants to marry a man that doesn't love God is to refrain from making that decision, because it's not worth it. Why would you want to get married to a man who doesn't love God? And let me tell you why you shouldn't get married to such a man who doesn't love God. No matter how rich that man is, no matter how exposed that man is, no matter how highly traveled that man is, even if he owns the whole world, don't get married to such a man. And I'm going to tell you why. When you marry a man that doesn't love God, you're getting married to a man that God too does not love. And I will tell you why. Someone might be saying, is God not supposed to love us? But they said Jesus is love. Is God not supposed to love us regardless? That is not true. I want us to look at our Bible, the Word of God, where the entire authority lies. When you get the Word of God and you visit Proverbs chapter 8 verse 17, the Bible was very explicit in its explanation that those that love God, He will love. And those that seek Him early will find Him. And this simply means those that don't love God, God will love them also. So if you're getting married to a man who doesn't love God, You're as well getting married to a man that God doesn't love. How relaxed will you be knowing that you're getting married to a man that God does not love? The next thing I want you to know is that when you get married to a man who doesn't love God, you're also getting married to a man who God has despised. So if you look at the word of God in 1 Samuel chapter 2 verse 30, you'll find it there that anyone that despised God, anyone that doesn't have regard for God, God too will not have regard for that person. Why would you want to get yourself entangled with a man who God has already despised? All because of marriage. Don't get yourself into that. Don't marry a man who God has despised already. And the next thing I want you to know, when you get married to a man who doesn't love God, you're getting married to a man who is very disobedient to God, who is very stubborn, very disobedient to God. Because if you look at the word of God in Deuteronomy chapter 6 verse 5, the Bible mandated us to love the Lord our God with all our heart, with all our soul, and with all our strength. A man who doesn't love God is very disobedient to God, is very disobedient to the word of God. Why would you want to marry a man who God doesn't love? Why would you want to marry a man who God has despised? Why would you want to marry a man who is very disobedient to God? And let me also tell you this. This is the most scary one for me. When you marry a man who doesn't love God, no matter how he loves you now, no matter how he professes his love to you now, there's no way that man will love you. He can pretend today that he loves you. He can provide everything for you. He can give you the word. He can buy you luxurious things, all in a bid to prove his love to you. But let me tell you, when he gets in there, you will see the true color of this man. And this is what I tell ladies. There's no way a man who doesn't truly love God will love you. It's not possible. He's only pretending to love you. This man who doesn't have regard for God, would you want him to have regard for you? And this is why we have a lot of marital problems today. Because they won't care to listen. They will still do it anyway. But when they get in there, it will now dawn on them that there's no way you'll get along with a man who doesn't love God, because this man will not love you. Why would you want to make that choice? A lot of people today do not know that the choices they make as regards to who they will marry is more important than the marriage itself. Because if you don't choose wisely, if you don't choose rightly, if you don't choose with God, you're going to make a mistake. How much more marry someone with your eyes wide open who you know that doesn't love God? Why would you want to add to the divorce list? The divorce list is already elongated. Why would you want to add to that list? Because if you insist and marry such a man, you'll still come back tomorrow to complain how this man doesn't love you. You'll still come back tomorrow to complain how this man will cheat on you. You'll still come back tomorrow to complain how this man doesn't care for you. You have known this about this man. You have known that this man doesn't love God. You have known that this man doesn't have regard for God. You have known that this man cannot keep the word of God. You have known that this man lacks all these qualities. And you still want to get married to him. And you still expect to have a good marriage. That would not be possible. I don't want you to be among the least. I don't want you to marry today and tomorrow you want to get divorced. You can avoid it today. Get married to a man that loves God. And let me say this to you. When someone wants to marry you and that person doesn't love God, and because of that, you refrain from such a marriage, do you know what you've done? You've told God, God, because I love you, because I cherish you, I don't want to marry someone who doesn't love you. I don't want to marry someone who you have despised already. I don't want to marry someone who you don't love because he doesn't love you. And because of that, I am leaving this man. Do you think God would not do for you what he knows how to do best? I guarantee you, if you refrain from such a marriage, all because you want to please God, or because you want to marry a man who truly loves God, I want to tell you that the God I serve will not disappoint you. He's going to reward you with a very godly man. He's going to reward you with a man that loves him. He's going to reward you a man after his heart. He's going to reward you with a man that will take care of you. He's going to reward you with a man that will not disturb you in that marriage. He's going to reward you with a man you will enjoy. And when you do that, you will have a peaceful, a harmonious, a stronger, a beautiful marriage. And that is what I want from you. So I'm entreating you, no matter who that man is, no matter what he wants to do for you, if he doesn't love God, he said, no, no, for me, don't marry a man who doesn't love God. Thank you for watching.